Hey, fifth grade, it's Mr. Headington with your week 3 health assignment. This week, we're going to be looking at some stuff about disease prevention and preventing germs. And obviously, in the times we're in, it's kind of important to keep thinking about all the ways that we can avoid germs, not only from our COVID stuff that we've got now, but any other things too. So as I go through the slideshow today, please kind of keep in mind that this applies to things all the time, not just what's been happening this last year. So as I move along here, what are germs? Germs can be many different things. And some pictures of things here on things. But viruses can cause colds and flu, and our current coronavirus issue there too. Bacteria can be something that, bacteria live everywhere. Can't really avoid them, but they can cause, or some can cause things that illnesses you might have had, including strep throat, ear infections. Hopefully none of you had to experience food poisoning, but oftentimes when people eat food that's spoiled or not cooked properly, they can get sick from it. And that would be because of the bacteria, not because of the food itself. Funguses or fungi, including athlete's foot, ringworm, toenail fungus, those kind of goofy things that you might see some commercials for on TV. This picture down here actually shows ringworm. It's not a real worm. It's just a rash that develops and starts healing in the middle, so it creates a ring, and it's called ringworm. And then finally on my list here is parasites, which head lice would be an example. Intestinal worms or some sort of kind of different creatures that, I shouldn't say creatures, but just microscopic things that could get into your intestines that can cause you to be sick. So, and ticks too. I hate ticks. They're one of my least favorite things to worry about, especially when springtime comes and I want to be outside in the woods and all that. And throughout the summer and into the early fall, they can be active in winter, but not as often. But ticks are something you got to look forward to. We'll talk about those maybe later in the year. Then, as I move along, do not think that all germs are bad. We've got some good germs to help us with things. In fact, there's some things on this page that I really like to enjoy eating. So germs are microorganisms. Just because some bacteria can make us sick, other bacteria and funguses and yeast are helpful to our bodies. Cheese, bread, and yogurt are foods that are made with these helpful germs. So if you enjoy cheese of different flavors, oftentimes it's either bacteria or some sort of good fungus, I guess, that would create the different flavors. And, cheese is basically made from milk. It can come from cow's milk. It can come from goat's milk. I've had goat's milk cheese. I've even had sheep's milk cheese. So they can be very delicious. And without those types of bacteria and funguses to help us with that, we kind of have some boring old cheese. If you enjoy bread of any kind, whether it's the bun for your burger or maybe even the pizza crust you have, yeast is what makes it rise and gets kind of spongy in texture. If you ever had bread that's not leavened, they call it, which doesn't have any yeast in it, it's basically a flat bread. It can be kind of, those can be delicious too. And then another one of my favorite things to talk about is yogurt. Yogurt's another dairy product that can be made from milk. And actually, even as a high schooler, I made yogurt in my biology class because we were studying microorganisms. And there's a good bacteria. It's called lactobacillus, something or other. I can't remember the whole name, but it's considered a probiotic, which means that it's a germ or bacteria that we want in our body to help us digest our food. So all those can be helpful as well. So don't always think of germs as being bad. How are germs spread? Well, you can kind of guess that what we've been talking about in the last year or so, we want to avoid touching our hands to things and then putting it towards our face where the germs could get in. Our hands are not going to cause the germs to get in our body. It's when we put our hands to our face or our nose or our mouth or anything else that could happen. And later, when you guys get a chance to do this on your own, watch this video titled "The Sneeze, How Germs Are Spread." It's kind of funny as a cartoon, but it does show exactly how things can be spread. Then you have something called the immune system. Your immune system is a part of your body, or multiple parts of your body, that help to keep the germs out or fight the germs once they get in. So there's a video here you can watch during our time on your own about the immune system. So the immune system starts with your skin and hair. Your outer covering of your body keeps germs out as best it can. Mucus is this liquidy, slimy kind of stuff. It can line the inside of your nose and ear passages. and other body openings kind of stuff. Tears, like for your eyes, helps to rinse out the germs might be there. Like I get allergies in the springtime, so if like all the dust and pollen's getting in my eyes, it's really watery, and it's just basically trying to flush out those things. Even earwax, which you think of as kind of gross, but it actually has a purpose to keep germs from getting in. And then finally, if germs do get in, we have a whole system inside our body that has to do with our blood, and white blood cells seems to be one of the types of cells of our body to fight germs. So we hope that those germs, or their bodies can recognize those germs to help with fighting them off so we don't get sick as often. So what do you do for your part not to spread germs? Well, healthy habits. Wash your hands frequently. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay away from others if they have been sick. Avoid or minimize contact with sick people, and cover your mouth and nose with tissue and so on. And lately, we've been having to do the whole thing with the face mask, which is what we have to do right now to prevent the COVID from spreading. So, do your part when you're here at school to keep your nose and mouth covered as best you can. We do make exceptions for when you do have to eat or drink, obviously, or give you a little break when you're outside and can take a mask break. And at home, we don't wear a mask at home with the family unless one of us has been maybe in contact with somebody that we know has had it. So finally, I have a video here from Brain Pop. There's a couple more in the next slide too about how soap works. Soap's a kind of an important part of this. We use a lot of hand sanitizer here at school, but soap actually does the best to get rid of dirt, germs from our skin, and it will explain in that video why that's important. Some information that this is from last fall. I should update it, but I think you kind of know. COVID-19 has really interrupted our lives in the last year. It's a new virus that humans have not had before. It will take some time for our bodies to build up immunity to it. Hopefully a vaccine will help with making us stay safe from the virus. So now that we have companies that are making these vaccines for adults, kids won't be getting it till a little later this year, hopefully. But it's something that will really help with preventing that. And there's many other types of vaccines that you might get. I've gotten vaccines for everything from the flu shot to tetanus to hepatitis one. There's several that you can get, and your doctors kind of make sure that you're up to date with shots. So as little kids, you get lots of shots when you're a baby. Not fun for the baby, and kind of sad for the parents to watch, but it is kind of necessary to help with keeping us healthy. So watch these videos to kind of explain a little bit more about stuff with coronavirus. I know you've probably seen a lot on the news about it, so you can learn a little more from this. Oops, gotta move that one. Finally, how do each of these people help you when you're sick? Sorry if I'm in the way for a lot of this. We rely on a lot of people when we're not feeling good. And family members, I would think if your parents are very much in tune with how you're feeling, your teachers and school staff and your healthcare providers, including your doctors, the nurse, even your dentist, they all are doing their part to help make sure you're healthy and that the germs, not only from the coronavirus, but all the germs aren't going to be causing any major issues for you. And you do your part and everyone else does their part, and hopefully things will go well. So finally today, as you finish up your lesson, there is a seesaw response that I need you to answer. And it will be in the seesaw response part. And it's just a few questions about steps for hand washing and stuff like that. So it's a pretty easy assignment this week. Hopefully you got some knowledge out of this whole thing. I wish we could be together to learn more. I've got some kind of cool activities to learn about for doing hand washing, and it's something maybe we can do in the future too. So hope you have a great week, and we'll see you again soon.